we'll start now. So hope you guys have understood ideas. Okay. Did you guys got a chance to do some exercise around it?
For all the fields, but yeah, couple of fields.
Not for all the fields, but some of the ideas. I think I have shown you last time how it works.
Same example.
But then you yourself practicing will give you a better idea. This is what I feel. Okay. Because I have shown it to you, that doesn't mean you should not do it, right? You should do it, then only you will be able to understand it properly. For any attributes in from the UMF field mapping you should do. Okay? Try to do it today only, otherwise what will happen now I am going to tell you or give the overview of how the precedents work, and then it would be very difficult for you guys to catch all the things. Okay? So over here if you see,
Just increase the font size.
yes, that's it. Okay, so exactly how it happens. So right now if you see on this screen, there is table level that I have written, and then there is a table level priority as well as the lock level priority. This is the with this combination the precedence works. Okay, what is table level priority? So right now उसको थोड़ा ऊपर बस रोक दो अभी आप नहीं चलो. Okay, so if you see I have logs defined. So not all logs, but some of the logs are defined on every table level. So there are these are the table levels which are defined in our system, starting from contract level. Okay, contract level where we store all the dynamic data that is coming from field. Okay, so these data can change based upon the contract specification and all, right? Okay. So contract level, when I say contract level, all the tables at contract level are covered in this. Okay. To be frank, over here I would say more the tables that those are related to the derivative, like security, derivative, instrument, future options. I'm only covering four as a contract level. Actually, ideally speaking, SD product series and SD product are also contract level table because we are getting this data from field. Okay, these are also SD level table, but I have specifically we have given different priorities to these tables. That's why these tables are sitting, from this group, out from this group. Okay, you understanding, right? So there are 5 tables over here. So I'll just write it down. Okay, these are the tables. If on any of the attribute from these tables we are applying log, okay, I am considering it as a contract level table. Just a minute. हाँ बोलो. नहीं चालेल देखो आता. हाँ 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 हालांकि इधर टोपाज में okay. So these 5 tables are included in this contract level logs. Okay. Then comes SD product series. What is series basically? So what happens is sometimes uh, feed data comes with a specific series. So that means a data defined for that particular series. So how will I explain because there will get confused. Specific set of data, for example dates or contract size. Only these kind of a data is coming in series. So some of the feeds are sending this data as a series data. Okay, they are defining that data as a series data. Okay, so what we and how that series works. I'll come back to that on the series part afterwards, because if I explain it to you now, then it will take a lot of time, and then I cannot explain you the precedence level. Okay, so just understand there are certain feeds which are giving us a series data, and we store that data in SD product series if that is coming from feed. Similarly, we also have a DD product series, okay, wherein that is a product level series data, and we have to define it at product level. Okay, very few fields give this series data. Okay, I think ICE Apex is one of them. ICE Apex is the field where we get this series data. So, for an example, they are saying last date is a series data, and the last date is not getting persisted in derivative table; it is getting persisted in series table. In this case, okay, I'll explain you series afterwards with example. Okay, then comes SD product. You guys know SD product. Okay. Then comes DD product series. I've just explained you. There is a series which we can define as a product level series, and that is been looked up basically while getting there. So the DD product series. Right now, I don't think so. We have any series which we are defining for any particular exchange. Right now, we don't have data as such. Okay, but that is a provision made in the system. Okay, right now whatever series data we are getting it from feed daily. So we are persisting it and the SD side. And then comes UDM product level. So that is UDM product. When I am writing UDM product, that means DD product. Okay, so here comes the DD product table. So when I am saying table level priority 1, that means if I want to take into consideration the priority between two tables. So, for example, if I am persisting a data in DD product def, okay, as well as the same data for the same attribute, the data is coming from field, and I am persisting it in derivative table. Okay, so in that case, I need to send only one data, right, to RAM. So over here, we consider system considers precedence. Okay, and depending upon the priority, system sends that data. Okay, so now when I am saying priority, there are two types of priorities. Okay, one is table level priority. So this is the highest table level priority. I am saying P1. That means contract level table for data persisted contract level tables is P1 priority, and product level data for that particular attribute is P5 priority. Okay, but this is one priority. This is table level priority. System need to understand which is that table in which the data is persisted. So it will consider the priority of a table. But then the second priority I have given is a lock priority. Okay, so now there are two priorities, and system has to go in a combination of two priorities, table level as well as lock level. Okay. But then in that case, we always give higher priority to the lock level priority, and then so system has to consider one priority at a time. It cannot consider two priorities, right? So one priority it has to match with other priority, and then similarly, so table level priority has to be matched, okay, and take out the highest priority, but then lock level priority has to be matched again. Okay, so system always considers lock level priorities first and then table level priorities. So there is an example given. Okay. So for an example, if I have a value with table level priority 1, which with enrichment log, so that means at contract level, I can put enrichment log. So you cannot see enrichment log anywhere else. Okay. So contract level, table level priority 1, that is this. I have a enrichment log that is with log 7. So what would be the combination over here? Or in this case is P1 and 7, right? Okay, and then I have a table level priority 5. Okay, so what it will give me equal to P5 and 3. So in this case, P1 is obviously higher than P5. Okay, but my IVR log level always gets the highest priority. So in this case, ops log is getting higher priority. So this value will go. Okay. So log level priority will always get a consideration and then the table level priority. Now you will say, in that case, always the log level will win the race, right? And then why we want to see the table level? There can be a possibility wherein my log level priorities are same. Okay, so that is the second example. So in second example, so my table level is P1 again, and my log level is 3, right? Okay, and my table level 5 over here, again your log level is 3. Okay, so this get right. So now it will consider a table level. So P1 ops log value will be. You understanding this, Sumit? Not getting confused, right? This is simple. Okay, so table level priority comes only in picture only when the logs are on the same level. Otherwise, the log level priority will always get consideration. And understand, this is precedence, and this is how our distribution is reading all the values, all the levels, and then distributing. So basically, it is trying to fetch out the highest precedence value from the system for that particular contract, for that particular attribute, and then that we are distributing it. You are understanding it, right? So for an example, we have seen the example of last trade date rule. First trade date rule. Or last trade date rule, where there was an enrichment log. You guys remember, right? Last exercise. So enrichment log was there on last trade date rule. Okay. So on enrichment level log, there is no other way of getting log on last trade date because we are persisting date rule value only either at contract level or series level. There is no other way. And if I am persisting it at series level, there is no way it will be persisted in contract level. So it can. How I will tell you. So I am defining a rule. Okay, I am persisting the value from series in series table, which got persisted over here. Okay, and I have a enrichment log over here in this case. Okay, so over here then there will be two different values, but generally we don't do that. Okay, in system, I'm just giving a wrong example. I don't want to continue with the wrong example. I'm giving some other example. So for example, take contract size. So contract size is coming from field, and contract size is getting persisted at contract level in derivative table. Okay, without any log. Okay, and say suppose without any log, because there is no two values for contract size. But then the contract size is also defined in DD product def. Okay, and there is a ops log applied on it. Okay, so in that case, the DD product def value will go because there is a log applied on it. and the value coming from field will not go for contract size. You are understanding it? Okay. Similarly, if I apply a fallback lock on contract size at product level, then it will take it from the contract level, even if there is no lock. Because fallback is the last lock. As I told you, if there is no value in system, there is no value in any of the table in our system, then it will take fallback.
So fallback lock at contract level and no lock at
No, fallback lock no. Fallback lock at product level. I cannot put fallback lock at contract level directly. See, there are not thanks for reminding me. So there are two kinds of locks. If you see, there are two types of lock. One is system generated and one is manual. What are the system generated locks? Enrichment is system generated lock. Field is system generated lock, and fallback at contract level is system generated lock. Apart from all these three locks, all are manual locks. I'll tell you how.
It comes into which are when we put as a value.
No, so enrichment, field, and fallback. These three locks are system generated locks. Why system generated? I cannot even by UI, using UI or by any other way, I cannot put lock, enrichment lock on any of the attribute. I cannot put that field lock, I cannot put the fallback lock at contract level. That's why I have picked it at contract level. Okay, but in system, from system you can put ops lock. It's a manual lock. You can put fallback lock at product level. Okay, so basically these are all these other locks are client, ops, just forgot about this, client, ops, even nil is the system generator. Nil is the system generator because it is coming along with no, sorry. Actually, it's not a system generated lock, or this is ideally just don't will not talk about nil only because nil generally comes with ops, right? So all these locks, this ops lock, nil lock, actually I consider as a and client lock. These locks are manual locks because when a person or operations guy is putting value, changing value, these locks are coming into picture. Otherwise, these locks are not coming into picture. You understanding this? So basically, in precedence. So if I have a fallback lock defined at product level, okay, but I have only value defined at contract level. So in that case, even if there is no lock, the fallback lock will not be considered and the value will be considered because the fallback lock has the last priority. In that case, there will be no value in the table. It's only at the lock level. So fallback. So I'll tell you what. So my contract size is coming from field. It is getting persisted at table. Okay. So there is a value in table. There is no lock in HDI lock table. Right? But I have defined contract size with fallback lock in DD product. Now when system comes, it will not consider fallback lock value because there is a value persisted in derivative table for contract size, which is directly coming from field. We haven't put a lock, field lock on that because there is only one value. There is no other value contradicting that value, right? But that value is what? Field value. And what is the field value priority? 10. Even if you are not putting a lock, it is a 10 priority value. So that means we should send that value in the distribution and not the fallback lock.
But I have a question on this. Since we know that the value is going to come from field and we are eventually sending that value, so why we are putting a log?
Right, good question. So I'll tell you why. So contract size is coming. So why we put these logs and why we want to put the values at product level? That is a precautionary measure. What happens sometimes if field is not sending value or incorrect value, at that time we don't want to take action because what happens, whatever things are happening on day-to-day basis or on the sequential basis, those things are happening. For an example, the field is getting downloaded from that, it is getting UDL is loading that field, data going in XRF, then distribution getting triggered and file getting sent to client, right? How many checks? So basically these are kind of a checks. For example, what I know is that contract size is going to be 200 for that particular contract that is coming from field. I will set the same value 200 in fallback log. In case, and when I put all these logs, all these values is just a precautionary measure, first thing. Second thing, when I know there might be inconsistencies from exchange side sending that data. So it's just a precautionary measure I am putting all these values. So if a contract size is not coming from field on a particular day or for a new contract, okay, so in that case what will happen? The fallback log value will be considered and sent to client.
So if it is null, the system will can check the values null at contract level, so it will send
Yes.
the fallback value. And
Yes.
in case of in a case where if the value is wrong, so is there a provision in the system to check if the value is wrong?
No, so I'll tell you what. So for example, what you are saying is, see, so I will make sure that at fallback log, with fallback log, I'll put a right value. Say, suppose the value is wrong from field and it is persisted in derivative. It will not, obviously, it will not send a fallback log value. Correct? Either what I have to do, if this is consistent for all the contracts connected to that product, what I will do?
Delete the value.
I will update the value at product level. So there are 12 contracts. For all 12 contracts, the contract size is 200. For all 12 contracts, the contract size is coming wrong in the field. What I will do, I will do one change at product level with the ops log, and that will get a higher precedence and it will start sending. I will change it. But say suppose only one contract is getting wrong value, other 11 contracts are getting right value. Okay? Why I will change it at product level? What I will do, I will apply ops log at contract level. And I will contact exchange and say that this value is coming wrong from the field. When they will rectify it, my problem is solved.
Eventually, ops log will overpower the fallback log in case of
Obviously, but only for that contract. Try to understand. So I have, depending upon the situation, I will apply the law. If only one contract is getting affected, I will apply ops law on that particular contract from on contract level at contract level, and other values are going from the directly from the contract side only. I don't have to change that. But if I think, if I see there is inconsistency, some of the contracts are not getting correctly, 3-4 contracts, then I will not go and change for 3-4 contracts. Because why will I change for 3-4 contracts? I will directly apply it and say that there is an inconsistency in data. Some of the contracts are getting correct, some of the contracts are not, and accordingly I will change the data. You understand me?
So in case of fallback, in case of null value, fallback value will go, and in case of wrong value, ops log will be applied and that value will go.
Yes, right. But if I put it, so basically what happens now, if I am getting contract size directly from field, but I apply directly ops log direct over there, because I know this field is, this exchange is not giving me data consistently, then that value will always consider, this value will never get considered. Okay, so basically these are the provisions made in the system to make sure that we send right value to client, because those values are very important for client, because client is processing something on top of the values that we are distributing. Right? So that's why this precedence logic is being written, so that we will end up sending right value always to client. You guys are understanding? Prashant? Understanding? Paka? Yeah. So this is precedence across, and this is always been built. Okay, you guys can apply or log at contract level and see. So if you want to check precedence, test precedence, you have to apply logs different level, change the log levels at different levels, and trigger distribution to see what value distribution is. You understand it? Then only you will be able to understand the precedence. It is not difficult. And they can apply like using UI or they can apply like
DBL
The basic training has been given.
they have UI, na? They have UI in their system. Right?
But do they know how to use how to apply logs?
And that I will show you. Show them, no problem. That will not
we
take
can do it even at
that will not take time. That will not even take.
Which Pratik has shared. How many of them?
I saw one thing
See,
very
Please complete that course as well.
applying logs will not, understanding how to apply log from UI will not take more than 15 minutes. I will show you. No problem. You guys understood this precedence? Okay. So, I will, can you close down this presentation? Just go on the next thing. You can read this out. Okay? This will be helpful. Next. थोड़ा छोटा कर देना So there is another thing that we have built is that we don't want to put similar logs, similar values with same values with different logs in the system. So on at the same level, that is very important. So for example, contract level, there is an enrichment happening on date. Understand this one. There is an enrichment happening on date rule with the date rule, and the date is getting persistent. So for example, date is for January 2020. Okay. Now a ops guy, okay. Okay, I'll take it other way. So there was a wrong last date coming. Okay. At that time, there is no date rule defined. There is no date rule which has been given by DRD that this date rule will give you a correct date. Okay. So what they will do, what operations will do, to make sure the right date goes, they will put an ops log at contract level. Okay. So they put one ops log with 1/1/2020. Okay, which is a right date with the ops log at contract level. Okay. Now what is happened? DRD has given a date rule that please apply this date rule, so you don't have to apply ops log, and the enrichment will take care of it. Okay. They change the date rule and product and reprocess all the securities, and with those reprocessing, the enrichment log got applied with 1/1/2020. Now there are how many logs? Two logs. Enrichment and ops. Enrichment with lower priority, ops with higher priority. Right? But the dates are same. What will happen? In this case, the ops log will get deleted automatically. How? And why? Because the rule that is written is, if there is same value with two immediate logs, immediate in the sense it's not like ops is coming after enrichment. That is immediate in the sense, if you see the
order of priority.
Yeah, the order of priority. If there are two logs only and the two logs are immediate after one another, then there should not be same value for those two logs. If there is same value for both the log, the higher priority log will get deactivated and the lower will remain in the system. So in this case, when I apply enrichment log, when the system is applying enrichment log, the ops log is getting deactivated. Okay, and the enrichment log will remain there. Why this has been provided? Just to reduce that unnecessary burden on the system, or even for distribution, it will get unnecessary logs. It will have to scan unnecessary logs, right?
So,
understanding?
So for
Come for me.
for ops and enrichment, we have priority 3 and 7, and they are next to each other. So what will happen in case of
Sorry,
ops
come
and
in. Okay.
So you said the log should be like they should the higher one should be next to the lower one, like 3 and 7 or 3 or 5. So what will happen in case of 3 and 10? Ops and
The
3.
3 and 10 will not never get applied directly. 3 is a manual log. Ops log is a manual log. 10 is a system log. System log comes only if the enrichment value or the fallback value is different than the feed value. We don't apply feed log directly, right? We apply feed log only when the enrichment log or the fallback log, that is the enriched value, is different than the feed value. Right? So 3 and 10 will directly never come. You also have to try to understand when I'm saying now which log can come, which log cannot come. So that will clear all your IBO thing in your mind. Okay, you have to understand this logic. Which log can come, which log cannot come. Okay, you have to from your side only you have to think that. Okay, this is a thinking part. Okay. So what is another example of this? Can you guys tell me? One example I have already given in IBO. There are four scenarios I have given. One of that scenario I have already given.
No logs or
No logs. But at what time there are no logs?
when values say
So that is the same thing, right? Because 10 and 7 both are getting at the same time.
yeah, so no log.
Both the logs are getting deactivated. Why both the logs in this case are getting deactivated?
Values
Because we don't keep feed log. We don't have to keep feed log. It's a direct value coming from feed. If I am not putting and enrichment is giving the same value, we don't want to put it on. Okay. So the the purpose behind doing all this stuff is to make sure we only apply the logs where it is really required. Otherwise, we don't want to apply logs in the system. So we have a lot of security, we have a lot of attributes. If we keep applying logs, then the log the system will create too many logs, and distribution has to scan all these logs. I told you that whenever distribution is looking at this precedence, it scans the log table and then it goes in the actual table at any level. It first sees the log level and then it goes to the table level. So it has to see all the log. If there are unnecessary log created, unnecessarily the distribution will take that much of time. So if we want that efficiency to get maintained for system efficiency to maintain. That's why we are doing all these things. Okay, these are not came at a time. This comes with continuous improvement as a continuous improvement. For our system. So we have initially come up with IO, and we thought how much logs are getting created. Then we improved it, then again further improved it. That's how we come to all this thing. Okay, IO thing. You are understanding now? Okay. Now one more log I want to tell you over here is 11. I have not told you. I think I have told you. I have not told you. I will tell you why. So for example, today on day 1, there is a field value persistent. So suppose the field value is persisted for thick size. Say suppose trade symbol. Generally trade symbol will never be wrong, but then point value. Say suppose there is a point value for which the data is persisted for a particular point value is nothing but equal to x. So point value we are getting from feed, and for some of the data it is not coming correctly. So but the data got persisted in contract. Now ops has decided to put a lock at contract level only for point value and for 3-4 securities. Okay, and when they are applying a lock with a change value, what will happen to the existing value? There is the existing value. So suppose the point value is 10, and an ops has decided to change it from 10 to 12. So they have applied ops law, and they have changed that value from 10 to 12. What will happen with that 10? We don't want to lose that value. Obviously that will get stored, because when I am applying the ops law is getting stored or getting created in IBM, right? So what will happen? That 10 value will get stored in nil. Okay? This is just a kind of a backup. But I am storing that value as well, and a higher priority value of ops log will be stored in table. Understand it? And so there will be two logs created, 3 and 11, with 12 in 3 and 10 in 11. Right? 11, correct. Nil log. Understand it? Now, say suppose Fluid has started sending the right value. What will happen? Say suppose Fluid has started sending 12.
So both the logs will go.
No, I'll tell you what. When it will get updated, it will update the nil log value to 12, and both the logs will get deactivated with the existing. Okay, but say suppose Fluid is still not sending the correct value, and it has been told that whatever Fluid is giving, give us that value. Don't put ops log. Client said that there is a requirement. Client said whatever Fluid is giving, give me that value. What I will do? I will deactivate this ops log. Okay? No, I will deactivate this ops log. I don't want to put. See, in case of manual log, I don't want to, unless at contract level, I don't want to put any fallback log. Why will I put a fallback? Either I will put an ops log and send that value. If the client is sending me, you don't send me that value. You send me what is coming from field. Okay, what I will do, I will deactivate the ops log. There is a way of deactivating these logs, manual logs, only manual as you can deactivate from system, from using UI. That is only given to operations. So operations will do, they will deactivate the ops log. As soon as they deactivate the ops log, the nil log will also get deactivated, right? Because nil log is coming with ops log, and the value in the nil log will get restored in the table. So the system is making sure with that nil log value, it is making sure that system comes to the existing state where it was before the log got applied. Before the log got applied, ops log got applied, it was 10 stored and in table and no log. After log got applied, 12 came in, 10 goes in nil, 12 is ops log. When I deactivate the ops log to make the system come in the existing state, okay, it will deactivate both the logs. Understanding it, right? Okay, because I am removing the manual log, I have to make sure that it comes with in the actual state. System comes in the actual state. You understood all this thing? That's why that nil log is there. There is no other way with which we are using the nil log. It is only to store the base value. We call the field value as the base value. That is coming from field, that is the base value. And to store that, if I am putting any manual log, the value gets stored in the nil log. That's why if you see CMIUL logs in the CMIUL log detail table, there will be no value in the nil log, because over there is no field, right? So you will say why we are then unnecessarily creating that, because that is a common code that has been called there. That is a common code that is You understand this? Right? I have given you everything about IBM. You need to revise this. You will forget this very quickly. I'm telling you. Go read this. Everything is there in this document. If you think something is not updated because I have created document long back, something is not updated the way whatever I spoke and there is it is contradicting the document I have updated it for. But then try to read this, try to understand. I try to put it in very simple language with examples. So try and go through this presentation to understand. Okay. अच्छा उसके बाद सॉरी मुझे लगा इसके बाद कर ले कब से वही कर रहा सॉरी सर मुझे लगा तू कर ले
मुझे एक्चुअली डाउट है वो टू इमीडिएट लॉक्स के लिए क्यों लगे सर टू इमीडिएट लॉक्स के लिए क्यों लगे
क्योंकि मुझे क्या जरूरत है मुझे ऑप्स लॉक में भी वही वैल्यू रखना है इन्वेस्टमेंट लॉक में भी वही वैल्यू रखना है फाइनली लॉक ये मेरा सिस्टम कंपनी दिस इज कंपनीज लॉजिक राइट द होल लॉक मॉडल इज कंपनीज लॉजिक company has applied some or RDO has come up with some logic to store the values from different sources or different priorities, right? So why we want to keep two same values into different log? What is the purpose of?
But different log, but why immediate log priority? We have written two immediate log priorities, no? Why
Immediate because. So basically, how it will work? Just try to think. So enrichment log, ops log. So sorry. Thanks for reminding. So this is not applied on client level. There can be same log as all logs on client log. Client log will not be created. If there is a value 20 in ops log and there is a value 20 in client log will not get created. Client log works individually. You don't create client logs. You understand? Okay. Now you are done. Why immediate logs? If you see, there are not too many logs in the system. At contract level, also enrichment, feed, and ops. These three logs can directly get applied. If enrichment, then there will not. If system generated logs are there at contract level, if I am talking about that, if enrichment is there, then the fallback will not be there. If fallback will be there, then enrichment will not be there. Because this gets changed based on the logs that I am applying at product level. Product level, if there is a ops log applied, that is getting converted into enrichment log. Product level, if there is a fallback applied, that is getting converted to fallback log. Okay, so you have that image. Sumit, can you open that image? Last time's image. Just close this out. Just close it कर दो. ठीक है जाने. Open हो ना पहले open कर. Okay. So over here I have given you example, all the example with enrichment and feed, all this. Just replace enrichment with fallback. The scenarios are same. If you apply, so over here in CMIBO I applied ops log, right? 3 and 11. Okay, and then I have converted that to enrichment and feed. Right? But in this particular case, if if a system is applying or the user is applying fallback log over here, okay, and the value for feed and fallback are different, then with fallback log over at CMIBO, it will produce a fallback log at contract level. Okay, and the scenarios are same. Okay, so why fallback is, as I told you, there was a requirement wherein if you always want to give a precedence to field value, irrespective of whether it is right or wrong, just for the sake of our understanding, we are also having the correct value populated at our end. We are keeping it at fallback level, and we are always sending a field of value, irrespective it is right or wrong. Wherever, and so if in most of the product in daily product dev, most of the date will there will be fallback log, there will not be ops log. Why? Because most of the exchanges are giving us right values. So even if the fallback log, the rule is getting calculated, we are getting filling. I mean, mostly compared. So if the values are same for fallback and feed, then the log will not get created. Okay, so but we also have a rule defined over there. Okay, so this all these things we are doing is a precautionary measure that we are taking, because at a certain point of time, if we really want to if we really want to make sure that all the values are going correctly in the system, we have to do this, take this precautionary measures. Understand it? Okay, now you understood. So what was happening is, see, even the manual log, right? Those operations guys, they are handling the exchange. There are so many contacts to see, so many attributes to see, right? They can do mistakes, right? So we are making sure that they will not do these mistakes. They will not do these mistakes. Understand it? Clear now? Can you go to the presentation? There's only one part remaining right there. Last page. Last page. So there is date log until. What is date log until? There is one provision for manual logs, obviously. When I am applying a manual log, if I got a intimation from exchange that we are going to send the right data from next month first week. What we are going to do, okay, is we are going to apply log till then, but I will put the date log until. That means this log will be only applied till 31st of August. Okay. There is a same running. The same will deactivated all the logs on 1st of September. Considering we are going to get correct values. You understand? There is that provision given that if I want to apply a log to the specific time period, I can do that. Okay. Understood? If you guys have any questions. I take question. Okay. बंद कर दो सेशन बंद कर दो